And what do you know? We have a blowout in Toronto, 121-95. The Toronto Raptors absolutely steamroll the Miami Heat at Scotiabank Arena. I am presently surprised about this result, to be quite honest with you, because Miami is a team that is battling their ass off right now in a playing situation, and they just got absolutely steamrolled here but tonight by the Toronto Raptors. So, the first I'm gonna do for the Raptors here is, and overall, just a nice game for the Raptors on both ends of the court, offensively, defensively in this one. I did like how they looked from a defensive standpoint mostly. And the good news is in this one is you had a bunch of healthy guys in this game. So CMB, I believe, was questionable. Sandro Mamukelashvili was questionable. And also game time decision for one Emmanuel Quickly all played in this game. And so the starters you had tonight was your regular five starting lineup in Emmanuel Quickly, Alcaperto, Scottie Barnes, RJ Barrett, and Brandon Ingram. Emmanuel Quickly coming into this game didn't really give you much after not playing since March 22nd, but he did play 18 minutes, gave you 3 points, 1 and 3 from the field with 4 rebounds and 4 assists, gave you 2 steals as well. But the good thing about Emmanuel Quickly in this one is that he looked good defensively. Like I mentioned, didn't have to do too much from an offensive standpoint in this massive blowout. And you got a lot of offensive production from your other guys as well. You get 17 from Pirtle. You get 25 from Scottie Barnes. You get 16 from RJ Barrett and 23 points from Brandon Ingram. And we will talk about that in just a second. But a big win here for the Raptors. And they go up against the Heat again on Thursday night. And so they have to try to repeat that as well. Superfan Mo, what is going on? My season record was so off the season, had them at 48 wins, but you're not that off, Mo. They're at what, 44 wins now after they get this win? And so I had them at 47 wins, which they still might get. So you're not really that far off. And if they get to 47 games, I mean, you're only off by 1 game. So, and even if they're off by 2, I mean, you're really not that wrong anyway. Raptors outworked the Heat. They absolutely did tonight. And in every way, I'm pleasantly surprised by the Miami Heat here, to be completely honest with you. You out rebound the Miami Heat 56-44 in this game. And so from a defensive standpoint, like I mentioned just a minute ago, I'm happy from what I saw for the Raptors here. I am happy from a defensive standpoint. The rotations looked good to me in this game. They did a good job holding guys in front of them on the perimeter. They did a better job of that. When Colin Murray Boyles is in the game, he's just a defensive beast, which we already know in so many different ways, and guarding pretty much any position that's in front of him. That's always good. And so what I like here, though, too, is that not one guy had to do too much on the offensive end because you had multiple guys do it collectively. 29 minutes for Brandon Ingram, 23 points and 9 of 16 from the field. 31 minutes for RJ Barrett, just 7 of 16 from the field, but 16 points here for you as well. Just 2 of 3 from the free throw line. But Scottie Barnes in this one gave you 25 points, 10 of 16 from the field, 2 of 2 from 3-point range, and 3 of 4 from the free throw line. And it's the first time Ingram and Scottie both had 20-plus points in a game since February 4th. Since February 4th. That's a long time. That's over 2 months, ladies and gentlemen. That's a pretty damn long time. Playing correct tonight. Got to close it out strong. Yep, I agree. Ingram impressed me a lot. Well, you know what? He was making shots that he typically makes. He makes them from 2. Streaky from 3, but he can make them from there. He did go 3 of 5 from 3-point range in this game. And Scottie, like I mentioned, 2 of 2 from 3-point range. Hasn't been shooting really great from 3-point range, especially since the All-Star break. So it is nice to see him knock down 2 of 2 from 3-point range. But overall, I want to get into this game. Why? Because I'm tired as hell. I really, really am. And I enjoyed seeing the Raptors winning that game. But was it just me, or was that game? I mean, it was fun to watch, but was it just me, or was that game a bit on the boring side? Maybe I was just tired as hell, but my ass was falling asleep in the second quarter. I was falling asleep in the second quarter, man. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's because I was up late watching the Michigan yesterday and UConn. I don't know what it was, but I was just damn tired. But let's get into this thing because I really don't want to make this a long show tonight. So let's get into this. Now, IQ, RJ, Ingram, Barnes, Pirtle. First time we've seen quickly since March 22nd. And the Raptors start the game 4-4. And then they go on an 8-0 run. It's a 12-4 ball game with 8:06 remaining. 8-2 Raptors points in the paint. And, you know, that's one thing I am happy about with the Raptors tonight. They understood tonight that they could not be stopped in the paint. They could not be stopped in the paint tonight. And I talked to you about rebounds, offensive rebounds. The Raptors won that as well, 15-10. But now when you're looking at points in the paint, I need you to hear this. Points in the paint tonight for the Raptors in this game was 70-34. Yes, you heard me correctly. 70-34 points in the paint for the Raptors. Now, I do need them to remember that come Thursday night. Because if they can repeat that, that would be quite nice, don't you think? The Raptors, they were turning the ball over early in this one. 4 turnovers with just under 6 minutes remaining in that first quarter. And Shed had 2 nasty turnovers early in this game, back-to-back plays as well. And Miami was in a zone, but the good thing was that Jacoby, I'm going to drop one for him, damn it. Drilled his second 3 early in this game. The Raptors subsequently go on a 10-0 run, and it's a 29-22 ball game with 2:06 remaining in that first quarter. Emmanuel quickly drills a 3 to end the queue. And second chance points already in that first quarter, 14-4 advantage for the Raptors. They're up 5 after the first quarter, 32-27 in this one. And I thought the bench did a pretty good job in this game as well from multiple different aspects, right? Sandro Mamukelashvili in this game, he went 2 of 4 from three-point range, and he made some big threes out there, just 4 of 9 from the field for 11 points in 22 minutes. But he was under control out there, spreads the floor for you, did a really good job, gave you 5 rebounds, 1 assist, just 1 turnover as well. I'm a drop one for him. Colin Murray Boyles, okay, he was a plus 17 on the night in this game. He had 4 points and 6 points in 20 minutes, 3 of 7 from the field with 8 rebounds. And he had 2 block shots, 1 steal, 1 assist in this game as well. He's just so damn good when it comes to the defensive end. High basketball IQ defensively, big, strong, mobile, agile, can guard every position that's on the court. He has strength, bumps, bruises with you. He just doesn't make it easy for anybody on the opposition. They don't even want to have to deal with him because they know how rough and strong he is from a defensive standpoint. The other guy I got to drop a bomb for in this one is, you guessed it, Jamal Shed. And listen, Jamal Shed in this game, forget about the scoring for just a second here. Okay, forget about the scoring. He played 24 minutes in this game. He had 3 points, but forget about that because I don't really care about that. He had 1 rebound, and I mentioned those couple of turnovers that he had early in this game. Well, he helped turn that around with those 11 assists that he had. He was finding guys in the offense in transition as well, and he was good from a defensive standpoint, tough on defense, taking a charge in your face. Jamal Shed was really, really good on the defensive end. I got to give him some big, big props for that as well. And pretty much, yeah, Jacoby Walter in 27 minutes, 9 points, 3 of 8 from the field. All of his points came from three-point range, along with 7 rebounds and 3 assists in that one. So Jacoby Walter, Colin Murray Boyles, Sandro Mamukelashvili, and if I didn't mention Jamal Shed already, which I believe I did, all of those guys played really well for you off the bench and contributed big time to this beatdown that the Raptors put on the Miami Heat. Let's get to the second quarter. So Barnes now attacks the paint for the lay-in, which I'm happy to see because I've always told you guys, and we have discussed this so much, and not just here. This has been a big topic of discussion all throughout the internet, pretty much. Okay. Scottie Barnes, and being more aggressive. It's been the talk of the town. Everybody's been talking about it. And he was attacking tonight. Okay. 16 field goal attempts in this game, which I'm happy with. And he was efficient to get that 25 points that we talked about. But Shed ends up draining a 3. The Raptors go on a 7-0 run, and it's a massive game of runs for both teams. I got here in my notes, Murray Boyles guarding multiple positions well, and I've already talked about that. 19-4 Raptors run. It's 53-40 now with 4:58 remaining in that second quarter. Okay. Ingram now 5 of 8 from the field for 13 points with 3:13 remaining in the queue. Barnes at that point, 11 points with just 3:01 remaining in that second quarter, along with 2 rebounds. And it was a good defensive effort. And I did mention here to make sure I spoke about Emmanuel quickly because, yes, we're used to him scoring, but coming off that injury, he's not going to be scoring a whole bunch of points. He's got to get in rhythm. He's got to get back in a groove, if you want to put it that way. But overall, from a defensive standpoint, I thought he did really well in this game from a defensive standpoint. And I was happy about seeing that because I want to see how mobile he is. I want to see how he's moving on the defensive end. If he's okay there, you don't really have to worry about him from an offensive standpoint. He's going to do his thing in the next couple games. So look at him defensively, see how he is progressing there. And he did a pretty good job of that in his first game back tonight. 64-51 Raptors at the half. So they have a 13-point lead at the half. And 34-20 Raptors points in the paint at the half. 21-6 second chance points for the Raptors at the half. And Colin Murray Boyles was a plus 17. And Bam Adebayo had 4 points. He was 1 of 6 from the field. So the Raptors completely took Bam Adebayo out of the game in this one. And some of the numbers here, nobody, and I mean nobody really did work for Miami. I mean, outside of really Andrew Wiggins. And Andrew Wiggins in this one, 33 minutes, he had 24 points, 8 of 13 from the field, 4 of 7 from three-point range, and 4 of 5 from the free throw line, along with 5 rebounds and 1 assist. But outside of Andrew Wiggins, nobody really did damage for you. I mean, Bam Adebayo in 37 minutes, he gave you 7 points. He was 2 of 13 from the field, 1 of 7 from three-point range with 9 rebounds. Davion Mitchell gave you 9 points. Tyler Hero, he was the one I thought you'd have to be careful about tonight. 30 minutes, 14 points, 5 of 8 from the field. And off the bench, Norman Powell gave you 14 points and 4 of 12 from the field, 2 of 7 from three-point range, but 4 of 4 from the free throw line. You didn't have to really worry about anybody else in this game. Jaime Jaquez, 8 points in 26 minutes. So I'm not sure if Miami's going to be able to get this thing together by Thursday night, but they're going to be coming out swinging and fighting like hell. I can tell you that much because I'm going to read the standings for you if I can get there in just a second. Let me go back and check the app here. Check the scores. And the Raptors here. Okay, can we come out of this, please? The score. All right, what do we got here? Raptors now up a full game over the Philadelphia 76ers. They are 44-35 on the season. In 6th place, game behind the Atlanta Hawks. And the Miami Heat, 2 games behind the Orlando Magic. And so, I mean, I don't know. I don't think Miami is going to be moving from the 10 spot here. Unless something happens in this next game or two with Orlando and Miami. And Orlando is actually tied with Charlotte and Philadelphia. This is a very tight race. And don't get me wrong, this thing is not over for the Raptors as well. They got to be very careful. That's why they got to go out here and get these W's. They got to be extremely careful as well. Now, getting to the oh yeah, I got to mention this quickly as well before I move on to the second half of this game. Did you guys hear what was said on ESPN First Take today? Did you guys hear what they talked about on First Take today? All right, Antoinette. I'm just going to leave it there. I'm so happy for the team. They needed this. They absolutely did need this one. They needed this one big time tonight, and they got it. But before I move on ESPN First Take today, Monica McNutt, Stephen A. Smith were talking about the New York Knicks. And they talked about who they can potentially play in the first round. And you know what was said? Do you know what was said? They talked about the New York Knicks needing to see the Raptors in the first round because they don't want to see Philadelphia. They don't want to see Charlotte. They don't want to see Atlanta. But they rather play the Raptors because they'll wash them. That's what they said. They said they would absolutely just wash the Raptors. So they rather play them. I'm not mad at that, by the way. I'm just telling you how these other teams are foaming at the mouth and what they think of the Toronto Raptors pretty much at this point, regardless of them being in sixth in a playoff spot, getting into the playoffs. This is how they're thinking of them. So everybody's just chomping at the bit to play against the Raptors in the first round because they believe it's going to be a cakewalk. And I can't fault them for thinking that way, to be completely honest with you. I can't fault them for thinking that way because, well, should they be thinking that way, to be completely honest? They probably should. I'm not even going to lie. But if you haven't already heard that, search it. You'll find it. Get into the third quarter here. Wiggins comes out drilling threes at the beginning of the third quarter and makes it a 9-point game. And the double teams now, and this is why we talk about Scottie Barnes needing to be aggressive. In Wananka, did I say that right again? Let's finish strong. Hopefully it carries over. I hope so. I hope it does. But the reason we talk about Scottie Barnes needing to be aggressive is because now in this game, they start throwing that double team at Barnes. And now he's finding the cutter. He's finding the open man. And so when he's doing damage and going to the paint and being aggressive, they're going to throw that double team at him. And it makes it easier for him to create for his teammates. That's another benefit of him being aggressive. Murray Boyle just makes his teams better. That's what I put in my notes. He is strong, aggressive. Opponents don't want to have to deal with him. Ingram, 23 points, 5:56 remaining in that third quarter. Mamu came in, made some big shots, shed 7 assists with 151 remaining in that third quarter. And Scottie goes on a 5-0 personal run to end that queue. 21 points after 3 quarters. It's a 94-76 ball game for the Raptors after 3 quarters. And pretty much at this point, you know the game is over. At no point really, honestly, in the second half, did you really think that Miami had a chance of coming back and winning this game? Sometimes you get that vibe. You just didn't get that vibe in this game. They were not coming back to win this game. Miami did not look good whatsoever. And I would like to know what a lot of the fans in Miami are thinking right now and what they're talking about in their post games after seeing that type of performance against the Raptors when they are battling to try to get at least home court in that first round of the play-in. And so I'll be interested. Maybe I'll go on there tomorrow and listen to one of their post-game shows just to hear kind of what they're saying, because I'm pretty sure that they are disappointed in this game. It is easy to forget that CMB is a rookie. It is kind of hard to forget that because he's just so damn smart from a defensive standpoint. From an offensive standpoint, even with him, I want to see him be more aggressive there, but that'll just come naturally in time. You don't really need or maybe not, I wouldn't say want. You don't really need it from him necessarily this season. He's young, he'll learn, he'll get it. And so you can completely understand it from that standpoint with Colin Murray Boyles being a rookie. But over time, I think he's probably going to be starting. And I said this on the last show. I think he'll be starting for the Raptors by next season. He's just too good at what he does, and you need a guy like that playing a bulk of your minutes when you're playing against opposing teams that have guys who are versatile and he can guard multiple positions. I can see him starting for the Raptors as early as next season. Getting into that fourth quarter now, 54-26 points in the paint, 9:53 remaining in that fourth quarter. RJ, 10 plus points in the paint in 8 straight games for the Raptors. 20 minutes into the show. Yes, I'm hoping to shut this down early tonight because I am, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, if you're just getting here, I am tired. I really am. But a couple more things. No, not really. Raptors cannot be stopped in the paint, like I mentioned earlier. And so at this point, we just have to be focused on, can the Raptors do this a second time against the Miami Heat? Maybe it's more likely that you do it now because you have a healthy team. Everybody is in the lineup for you. Okay? Like I mentioned, game time decisions for CMB, Quickly, and Mamukelashvili, I believe. And they all showed up and played tonight, which was good. You got a healthy roster. Honestly, I think that is the most important and the thing that's most key for the Raptors going forward. If you want to get these games, you got to be healthy. You got to be healthy. You can get this one against Miami. You can get that one against Brooklyn on Sunday. Now, can you get the one on Friday night against the New York Knicks? I don't know. I really don't know, but you can get these other games, and hopefully you can get the one against the Knicks as well, because I want my prediction of 48 wins to be deadly accurate. What are the Raptors now? Sorry, not 48 wins. Mo said 48 wins. I had 47 wins before the beginning of the season. And so who would you rather play in the playoffs in the first round if you had a choice? Would you rather go up against the Knicks? Would you rather play the Celtics? Would you rather play Detroit? If you had your pick, who would you rather play? And also, did you guys see the national championship game? I mean, when you see some of these guys, would you rather just not make the playoffs and get a higher draft pick? Because when I look at some of the guys in this draft, the draft is loaded. There's a lot of guys in this draft. There's a lot of guys in this draft. And the Raptors, once again, can get a nice player. I mean, Yaxel Lendeborg. I mean, damn. This dude is built like Banchero in college. I mean, just a mammoth, strong, big. I mean, there's a lot of people in this draft that you can get. If you're in the first round here, you got to get something good. And that's for anybody in the first round. But if you're the Raptors, with what you have now, and there's going to be changes in the offseason. There's going to be changes. There's going to be moves. But damn it, if you're adding a pick, if you're getting a pick, you got to make it count. This year, you have to make it count. Every year is important when it comes to the draft. There's a lot of guys you really, really got to make it count here. And so the Raptors will be back in action again, once again against the Miami Heat, at Mike Roach 7 on IG, at Mike Roach 23 on X. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe, and share the show. The season is almost a wrap, and we are going to be talking about who we're going to be playing in the play-in or playoffs in just another week. This is the Micro Show. Thank you for joining me tonight. Make sure you get in the comments, not just on the chat for the live, but make sure you get in the comments because I always get back to you. This is the Micro Show. See you again soon, and I'm out.